I recognize myself with a black people in any place of the world, much more that my neighborhood, my colleague
Yeah,
of
then your neighbors.
university.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are in diaspora. My people are in the world.
E aí, beleza? Bem-vindo. What's up? What's good? And welcome to the Brazilian podcast with me, your host, Stephen, reporting live from Salvador, Bahia. And today we have an extra special guest. We are honored to be joined with the amazing artist, activist, bloguera, and absolute superstar, Bruna Rocha. How you doing, Bruna?
Hello, Steven. I appreciate for your invitation. I'm good. I'm nice. I'm in Salvador. I'm working. I'm studying. I'm living. But I'm not a superstar. Please don't tell me that. I am just a black woman walk for the world around the world and thinking about my whole life.
Yeah. Bruna, I think maybe you be modest and say that you're not a superstar, but if I try to describe you, I can't help but describe you like this because you have a way of speaking, a way of writing and describing things that resonate with a lot of people around the whole of Brazil. You're very popular and you're very um, well well known for speaking about a lot of things that happen in Brazil and worldwide regarding the diaspora, regarding Black people, and especially regarding Brazilian culture and how it affects those two people that I just mentioned. How would you describe yourself in terms of what you do?
Well, I am a working woman that fights for for freedom, for my freedom, for freedom to my people, freedom to my culture, to my land. I think that I am an artist because I like poetry, I like music, I make poetry, I make music. Writing is a very big interest in my life. I studied journalism because I like writing. So I think that I'm a writer, but I don't like so much this word superstar because I think that um, we live in a society. I think that everything that have some relevance have um, a talent, have a light, a own light. But I understand that my thinkings, that my writers, that my text, my papers, my actuation in my area that is semiotic, activism, feminism, anti-racism. Uh, how can I say? Make some people near to me and another people very way. Thanks God. So I think that this phenomenon that people like another people and election and vote that that woman represent me. That's very a reference. I think that in Brazil we need a reference that speak things that always people or a part of people think the same. So I think that the people that like me, I am popular. We I am popular around the people that think near to me or like my way of writing. I don't know, but and I like that. I like that my ideas my ideas, how can I say,
Influence.
I like that my ideas arrive before my appearance, for example, for good and for bad, for good and for bad, before my appearance may be good because I am a black woman, but my skin it is more it's
Lighter.
more white, it's more lighter, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know that in the conception racist, I pass like a mixed, and I am the symbol of the sometimes about sexuality, hypersexuality, or sensuality, but I I don't like that. I like my body. I fight to that, but I know I don't want that my body, that my appearance, that my wow, that cool girl. Fuck, it's not important to me. Important to me is what I think. What I think, because I know that this body is always very, very, very. How can I say, transitory? But the ideas that they it's can change things across the time.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about another thing, not about me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Absolutely. But it's interesting though because what you say about yourself is it's so interesting that you have that perspective because it shows in your work anyway. It shows in your work. You comment about things that are happening in the world that aren't don't necessarily seem super personal, but resonate with so many different people. You seem to represent a lot of people whilst not necessarily talking about yourself. You're talking about others. And I think that's, you know, a lot of people, when something happens in the news, they look forward to what you are going to say about it. They're waiting, okay, what's Bruna going to say about this, which is really interesting. And it's because it doesn't come from a super personal place, because it represents a lot of people, which I think is really great.
I like that, but I think, and I try make that in my work, in my trajectory. Um, I want that the people that like me uh, can disagree me with respect, obviously, because my thinking is not aligned. So I am curious to know what Bruna will write about that. Okay, but I can find some things that I don't. I disagree. That's possible. I want this person, these people near to me, because in this experience of internet, of Instagram, it's very interesting. I write about some things, and many people arrive, arrive, and arrive. 2 months ago, 2 months then, I write about another topic, another issue. But my opinion, it's not so good to that people that agree with me about another issue. And these people, no, leave me alone. And another people arrive. But I observe that there are a very it's hard to person live with a different thinking, a diversity. It's very crazy to me. So I always think how the means, what means these followers. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know because I know my friends, my brothers, person, people that I have met, um, and I talk and I know agree, disagree, but people that arrive just for a very hard identification with a singular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they they will stay for a long time.
Has Does that happen? Do you ever have like has there been like a topic that someone has said to you, hey Bruno, okay, cool, we're gonna cancel this person, or we're gonna protest against this, we're gonna talk against this thing, and you've been like, actually no, I don't want to speak about it, or I feel differently. Does that happen sometimes? People call you to comment on
Hmm.
something, hoping, expecting you
Always,
to say something that is in line
always,
with them?
always, and I think that because I write so much every day. I write so much, and it's natural that the people demand me. But I always say that I just write what I want. Psychoanalysis free me every day of
Mm.
this responsibility that you write for obligation for some things very political. My body is political. My desire is political. And I follow my desire. I follow my desire. So uh, there are many um, variables in a moment that I am in person stop it your life to write some about something about anything.
Mm.
It's not so simple. To me, write is something like great, something like death, something like life. So when I write, I research and I rethink my life, my point of view. So it's very singular. I always think if for by the way, I would like, for example, working to a very good place, a very good media that pay me good to write, for example. I would
Yeah.
like, obviously, but I always think about this experience that writing for demand. Bruna, write about that. I can do it, but it's not the same when I when burn when
Yeah.
burn of him by from him from
From
myself.
within. Yeah. What about, I just want to quickly ask you about some of the things that you wrote about recently, and just why it was important to you and how you feel about it now. Um, so, for example, this,
I'm
no,
sorry. I'm sorry. Could you
can you hear
repeat?
me? I'm just going to
Could you
ask
say
you,
again?
I'm going to ask you about a few of your writings that you've done, some of your posts, some of your blogs and your tweets. Um, so since Lula was elected, you've written about that a few times. The World Cup. the protests in Brasilia, and
Protest, no, terrorism.
All right, so the terrorism.
The oro, the oro,
Yeah.
Brazil.
And in Brazilian, people, strapping themselves onto vans and stuff like that. Pele's death. And yeah, like you mentioned, or like we said, the invasion, the terrorism that happened in Brasilia. When in situations like this, do you feel obliged that you have to say something? Do you feel like you have to speak about these things?
Um, and the episode of Brazil,
Yeah, for example.
I write something, but I felt I felt myself weak that day. Uh, and that that happened in my birthday. So
Oh
I
yeah,
I
for real.
was I was happy and I was with my friends and drinking and talking and being very happy, very grateful for my life. 30, 33 years old, and that that happened, that event, terrible, very sad event. Um, I think that many things, the major part of that happened, events, historical events. We need time to think, to write, to have an elaboration. But I think I also think that this is a process. So some opinions are obvious, very obvious. This is terrorism. Many people need needs speak about that. This is terrorism. Brazilian society. This is terrorism. Um, the government needs action now to stop that because this is very dangerous. That's happened. It's very bad, and it's not about um, houses and walls, and it's about our democracy. It's about our um, our image to the world, to our people. So I think that this event still will think and writing and register and investigate. But I I think that some events, for example, George Floyd, for example,
Mm.
all the murders of black people, um, sexual violence, some events. Um, I sometimes I can't write. I can't move. I just stay stopped and weak, very weak.
Mm.
But then we always uh, restart and think, and let's production something about that. Let's make something with that. But some events, um, in my case, in my life, request some silence. But I always find or looking for another person, another people that write. I can't write about that, but I would like to read something.
Mm. That's amazing. And one of one of your one of your tweets or one of your posts, one of your writings that I really really, really enjoyed. There's been a few, but one that I want to just talk about, or two, was the one you wrote about Pele after his, we say Pele in England, Pele, uh, after his death, his passing, which I thought was amazing. Um, and the other one was about Mbappe, if you remember. What made you write about Mbappe? What was happening that you thought, let me talk about this? Because honestly, I don't think anyone was talking about this. This whole big thing where, just to give some context, everybody's talking about how great Messi is as a player and how he's a genius and he deserves all of these accolades. And at the same time, people were just referring to Mbappe, Kylian Mbappe, as someone who is just a beast, or someone who is just fast and strong. The typical credits that you would give to an African player, to just have strength and speed, and then to just use, and then to refer to, the European white player as someone who uses their mind and is smart and intelligence. So what made you speak about that? Do you like football? Were you watching the World Cup?
I think that you already answer your all question.
Okay.
This is about your races. I don't know. I don't know Mbappe, and I don't know Messi. I don't know this man. This man. Uh, I know the images. I know the symbols. I know the narratives. And in these narratives, the racism is evident. So attribute the corporal and the physical characters for a black man, and the psychological cognitive characters of a white man is the more pure racism. It's the more pure racism, and the more pure all the racism is poor, but is there, how can I say, primary?
Yeah. Shallow.
Primary.
Yeah.
So it's obvious, but people are so racist that they forget the obvious, forget the reasonable, and practice the racism um, in the light of the sun.
Mm.
But we are here to write, to show what we think. It's not about Messi or Mbappe. It's about a black man. It's about a white man concurring for a a very at the biggest place. And in this logical, this football logical, soccer logical, it's terrible. That's terrible too. We know that this business, how can I say, this business is done for that, for the players concurring to
Yes.
ranking,
Stereotypes and
to
yeah.
to to rankings that don't make sense, no, don't make means. But um, in this case of the cup of the world, we know one more time the races of the world, and happen a very complex debate about nationality, about European, Latin American, but it's not about that. I am Brazilian.
Mm.
I know how my brothers, my Argentine brothers, look to me. I recognize myself with a black people in any place of the world, much more that my neighborhood, my colleague
Yeah.
of
Then your neighbors.
university.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are in diaspora. My people are in the world. I believe that the place, that the nationality, that the country is important. I respect uh, the fighting and the work people Argentine, but I recognize my hurt. How can I say? Bate mais forte.
My heart beats much stronger.
Yes, my heart beats much stronger with Mbappe, obviously. And my reflection about Pele, it's a very interesting for me because I always reproduce a very superficial opinion about that man. And I when he died, I feel that the experience uh, of meeting much more or just a little more this man that was so important to Black people in Brazil was stolen by racism, by racism that say to me that man it's just a bad father. He, nobody say me that man saved the unlove of a million of Black people, and so I know about the bad legacy, about his bad legacy. So I feel very bad. I feel angst, very very strong. Uh, but now what I can do about that, writing, thinking, changing, talk with my child, my possible children about Pele.
It's amazing. I had one more thing to do, but I don't think we have time. I was gonna read one of your. I'll read it. Let's see if you can understand this, and then we'll finish.
I need a reunion now, but we can come back then in 30 minutes. 40
Okay.
minutes.
Okay, cool. All right.
I will time it. Eu vou lá então. E aí eu volto. Viu?
Massa, beleza. Obrigado, viu?
E aí a gente não termina correndo, mas aí a gente faz mais 10 minutinhos. Pode ser?
Perfeito.
Tá bom, valeu.
Obrigado. Valeu. Peace.
Até.